Hi everyone, and welcome back to another Langmuir Systems Fusion 360 tutorial video. In this video and the next couple videos, we'll be covering the sketch elements you can use to draw your sketches in Fusion 360. We'll go over each of the elements, the different methods of defining them, and some examples of when you might use a certain method in your drawings. As always, these sketch elements can be found in your sketch dropdown or in your toolbar. Be sure to pay attention to the hover tips for specific instructions when you're not sure what something does. We'll start our examples with the simplest elements and work our way to the more complex elements. First, let's create a sketch for our examples. The first element we'll cover is a sketch point. In the sketch dropdown, find and select point. Points are the easiest sketch element to define. Simply click your mouse to define a point at a certain coordinate. Points are generally used as references for other sketch elements in Fusion. I'll draw a few more here. As with most of the drawing tools, Fusion 360 will show you guidelines as you move your cursor around the workspace. These make it easy to align the elements to the rest of your sketch and often create constraints for you. To stop using or deselect any of the sketch tools, hit the Escape key or the Select icon in the toolbar. Continuing from points, we'll move on to the next basic shape, a line. We can use the toolbar, sketch dropdown, or the L hotkey to choose the line tool. When placing a line in your sketch, you select the start and end points to define a line segment. After the starting point, you'll see text boxes to dimension your line with length and angle. After your line segment is placed, Fusion automatically uses your endpoint as the starting point for the next line segment you may want to place. This is useful when roughing out the outline of a non-uniform shape. To end the line segment, you can either complete the shape, hit the Escape key, or click on the circled check near the end of your segment. A further feature of the line tool is the ability to click and drag the endpoint of a segment to define a tangential arc, as shown here. That about covers the line tool. Now we'll move on to the rectangle. There are three different ways to place a rectangle in Fusion 360. The first is one you probably remember. The two-point rectangle creates a rectangle using 2 points for the diagonal corners. After selecting the tool, select the first point as the start of the rectangle. Then select the second point or specify the width and height values. Next, the 3-point rectangle tool creates a rectangle using 3 points to define the width, direction, and height. First, you define a line and then extend the rectangle distance perpendicular to that line. This is useful in defining rectangles when the width is already in the sketch geometry. The final rectangle tool, the center rectangle, creates a rectangle using 2 points to define the center and 1 corner. First, select the center point of the rectangle and then select or specify values for the corner point. This is useful in creating rectangles that must be centered over certain sketch geometry. You'll notice Fusion 360 creates construction lines and their intersection point to define the center. Next, we'll move on to the circle tools. The circle tool you'll use most often is the center diameter circle, or the C hotkey. This tool creates a circle using a center point and a diameter. After selecting the tool, select again to place the center point, and then specify the diameter value, or select a point along the circumference of the circle. You'll notice that by specifying a diameter when creating our circle, we create a dimension for that diameter in our sketch. Next, we'll move on to the 2-point circle. The 2-point circle creates a circle defined by 2 points along the diameter. This is useful when defining a circle between 2 points of existing geometry in your sketch. Next, the 3-point circle tool creates a circle defined by the arc specified by 3 points on the circumference of the circle. This sounds confusing, but it's basically just a circle defined by 3 points along the outside. This can also be useful when defining a circle with existing geometry. And finally, the 2 and 3 tangent circle tools create circles bounded by the tangent lines in existing geometry. First, we'll select lines that will be tangent to our circle. Then we'll specify the radius or third tangential line. All of these circle tools create the same basic shape, but again, some are more useful when creating circles around existing geometry. And that's it for this video. Check out part 2 for the rest of the Fusion 360 sketch elements. Thanks for watching!